Okay, so today we are out working on the 88 Mazda 323 again. I know everybody really seems to like this one on my channel, and we got ourselves into quite the job this time. You'll see. Well, you already see. So we discovered that the power steering pump had thrown a belt, which was suspicious in and of itself, because that pulley felt fine. And then before we could get to that, the lower radiator hose decided to blow itself off on the way home one night, and that was clue number 2 that something was definitely awry. So we got the new hose and a new radiator cap and coolant and such, and as soon as everything got put back together, it immediately started just leaking coolant out of where the water pump goes. But, little fun side note, when we moved the power steering pump, there were bearings sitting on top of the compressor housing, which, I don't know if you can hear this. Yeah, if you can hear that goodness, just, you know what happened there. And then, when we took the timing chain covers off, I found that, which looks suspiciously like a bearing race jammed into the timing chain cover, or belt cover, whatever. So that compressor, I'm guessing, seized violently and through the belt. Luckily it's a multi-belt system, so it, it kept charging and kept going. But then the water pump died, and that kind of killed the whole party. So right now we're just waiting on parts. We got the new pump over there in the box, and it came with, oh sweet, it even came with a new O-ring, because you're going to need a new gasket for this water housing, outlet housing, and you're going to need a new O-ring for the hose that shoves into, which is awesome, because I went on a hardware store hunt and found exactly that O-ring, I believe. So awesome. And then it was also missing a screw to hold the inner crankshaft pulley on. You see, it's got one pulley there, that's the outside. Actually, that one might be the outside one. Either way, one pulley is the outside pulley, and you take the outside pulley off with 4 bolts, and then the inside pulley is held on by 2 Phillips head screws. Well, the inside pulley on this job, there was only 1 screw, so that was nice. Here, I'll let you get a view of the guts in here. So when you do this timing belt, it's super easy. All you do is you make sure that keyway is lined up with that little arrow, and then there's a little notch on top of that too that you line that little keyway up with. And then once that occurs, you should be lined up with the little notch there at the 12 o'clock position, which also lines up perfectly with that casting. And then you should have another notch here at the 3 o'clock position. So then you're set right to be able to take that belt off. But before you do that, that little peg right there, you unhook the tensioner spring from the peg, take the tensioner spring off, and then unbolt the tensioner from right there where the circular area is. And once you got that tensioner off, you can slip the belt off, which I recommend 2 hands getting behind it, or 2 fingers, whatever, and pulling it off evenly, because if you try to just pull on one side of that belt, you're gonna rock this back and forth. I mean, it won't throw it off much, but it's enough to be scary. So, because I don't like to take any chances with timing and all that kind of thing. So, you know, definitely 2 hands on either side of the belt, pull it off, and then once you get it off, you can get the water pump out. And the water pump's gonna have a couple bolts on the bottom, and it's gonna have a couple of bolts on the top. And in order to get the water pump out, I believe the correct procedure is you're supposed to take this cam gear off, which is absolutely insane. So we did the next best thing, and we took off the motor mount that goes right there, which it really didn't shift the engine at all. I mean, like at all. I mean, it barely shifted, and that can be corrected right up, no problem. So you just take that motor mount off, and you jimmy that water pump out of there, and you're good to go. And then once you do that, you can clean all your surfaces off and put your new belt on, put your new tensioner on, or put your put your new water pump in with the gaskets, which I recommend getting some Permatex and using Permatex to run a bead around the gasket surfaces and sticking your gasket on with that Permatex. That way you get that Permatex seal and that gasket seal. And also, while you're putting it on, the water pump itself, it'll actually hold those gaskets in place while you get it going. So that's what we got going on today with the old 323. I'm not going to go over each individual bolt size, for I think that was like a 19 millimeter for those, and then those were all different sizes there, and those were different sizes there. So, you know, you'll get it figured out. Just pull the whole mount off, and don't take those 2 top bolts. Just pull the whole mount assembly itself off, and you can work the water pump out that way. Because watch, here's the old water pump here, and I don't know if you can see. It's hard to demonstrate one-handed. Oh, there. That's good. that really demonstrates how bad the old water pump was. So it was just done, you know, just done. The old tensioner too. I mean, let's see here. Yeah, the old tensioner wasn't too bad, because you can actually look on the belt. I'm pretty sure that's a date. So 12/2016. So what I think, somebody tried to retime this thing, and they like left a screw out and didn't do things right, and it ended up being catastrophic for the whole ordeal. So when you do these things, don't lose the screws, do them right. And it's really not that hard. It's really not. Just keep track of your bolts, don't move those gears, and you're good to go. But that's all we got going on the little Mazda 323, aka TK323. That's a Star Wars reference for those playing the home game. Alright everybody, take care. Oh, and as an additional PS to the video, when that compressor went out, in order to keep everything functional, we didn't even have to do any kind of belt measuring and searching or anything like that. All you got to do is get the standard non-AC power steering belt, and it'll bypass that power or that AC compressor like it wasn't even there. So if you want to just not use your AC compressor, or if your AC compressor goes out and you don't want to pull it out of there and deal with all the headache and expense of replacing it right away, you can just leave it alone, get the non-AC power steering pump belt, and it'll route right around that like it's not even there and fix the problem right up until you're ready to do whatever it is you want to do with the AC or the car in general, because who knows, you know, some people may want to motor swap these things. I think it'd be pretty neat to do that, but then again, I'm a crazy hot rodder car person. Anyway, that's all.